All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in for another returning episode of the Pimpy and Rice Show. And today we're going to be continuing our discussion about the plan to end it all. These are some videos that Pimpy had did a few weeks ago, and he actually did part 1 and part 2, and then a Q&A part 1 and part 2 as well. So we'll have all that linked down below. This is a collaboration between both of our YouTube channels, so depending on where you're watching this at, make sure you're checking out the other's channel. My channel is Rice Crypto. His channel is Pimpy's Investment Chat. We would definitely appreciate the support. Today, we're going to be digging back into geopolitics, precious metals, cryptocurrency, blockchain, NESARA, GESARA, global currency reset, great reset, talk a little bit about the RVs, and of course, the election.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on, brother?
Not a whole lot. How you doing?
I'm doing well, considering everything.
Yeah, again, just watching. It's not anything hidden. Everybody knows I'm a Trump supporter, but and watching, I'm amazed at just watching how quickly they're trying to force Biden down our throat here. You know what I mean?
It's interesting.
Despite all the irregularities, despite all the fraud, despite all what we know. I mean, if you just the fact now you even got Fox News saying Biden, they called him the president-elect. These people are going to all regret this because now, as of today, I did a video earlier showing that, guess what? In all those states, oops, they found all kinds of ballots that had not been counted and mistakes in which, 10,000, 20,000, 60,000 votes mistakenly were given to Biden when they should have went to Trump. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, this is why you gotta wait.
It's crazy, man. So we're recording this on Sunday the 8th. I'm
November 8th.
Not sure if it's gonna come out tonight or not. Hopefully we'll get it out, but if not, it'll be out Monday first thing. So just give everybody a time frame. I woke up yesterday. I was up late Friday. I woke up on Saturday to the news that's being shoved down everybody's throat. And of course, yeah, I mean, I get it. And the first thing that I had said when I had heard this, considering everything that's going on, knowing there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be contested. There's also ballots that have until the 12th of November to be counted as well. So the Supreme Court had ruled, I know in North Carolina where I'm at, they had until the 12th to have the ballots in. They had to be post dated by the 3rd, but they had until the 12th to receive them. So, I mean, there's still a lot of votes that are coming in technically that may not have been counted because I know the mail is running a little bit behind. We know that there's going to be a lot of talk of mail-in ballot fraud, various sorts of voter fraud, physical and through the mail-in and electronic ways. I don't think anybody I think it was irresponsible for anybody to claim that they won. And I'm not for or against Trump or Biden. I'm more leaning towards the Trump element because especially if Trump is doing some of the things that we'll talk about in this video, yeah. If he really is trying to implement things back to a even playing field, not only for nations globally, but for people, everybody individually as well, to even that playing field, because we have seen money has been the absolute root of all problems aside from religion. And usually money kind of comes into play with that as well.
So. Yeah, well, look, there's a whole list of things we could go down. We could start with the money, get into the geopolitics. People know on my video, I tell everybody, look, I got a friend. For those you don't know, I used to be a Democratic strategist for Senator Harry Reid. So, I still have a lot of friends that are into the whole political scene, in the political game. But one of them went on to bigger and better things. He does work. This is his 3rd or 4th administration now. He works for the Department of, or the State Department. So, I mean, even long before people even knew about peace agreements, I told people, get ready, because here they come. And sure enough, one after the other. And, of course, I have to ask for permission when I'm talking to him. He's like, it's not a big deal. It's nothing, we're in peace agreements right now. But, while hell, we're already started. These Abraham Accords, we're seeing these nations over in the Middle East, and we're talking about real peace in the Middle East that everybody said not possible. Not possible.
Yeah, but it was prophesized hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago.
Whatever it was, the point is, it happened under the Trump administration. Now, having said that, Here's the ones that I was hoping would be announced before this election, because I know they're in the midst of talking to it. But it makes sense for one of them to hang tight, and that is Saudi Arabia. We knew was coming in. Iraq we knew was coming in. Kuwait we knew was coming in. But what people don't know is Iran was talking with the Trump administration. They were ready to come aboard on this peace agreement, along with Palestine. Do you understand what that would have done? That would have been real peace in the Middle East. Now with the election here and them trying to force Biden down our throat, now Iran's like, whoa, time out, screw you. Because they know they're going to be able to get their more money back, and they're going to be able to start their nuclear program. Now, having said that, and talking to my friend, man, these countries that have already signed aboard, and we're talking about signing aboard, they're really stressing. They're talking about, Biden administration is going to destabilize all the hard work that they put in there. They really believe that. They know that giving Iran a nuclear weapon, and I like how they go, well, it's not to build a nuclear. Yeah, yes, it is. They even came out and said during Trump's administration, yeah, we were building a nuclear weapon. We were further along than you thought. And if you keep screwing with us, we're going to finish the program. What do you think they're going to do now? I'm sorry, I was kidding. No. So yeah, there is a lot of concern. Now, depending on what you believe or don't believe, the cabal, the New World Order, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, if you are a follower of the NWO agenda, then you see they had this map drawn out in which the Middle East would be considered an Arab Union that would be controlled by Iran. You could see it was already in the works when under the Obama administration, they destabilized Lebanon, Syria, all of them. Bush's did, Iraq, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then they want to break everything down to regions. With controllers of the regions, sort of like kings of the regions in a way.
Yeah, and Iran was supposed to control the whole Middle East.
That's where the North American Union came into play with Mexico, North America, Canada with the Amero that people keep talking about. And there's actually a lot of talk about that right now. Yeah. Kind of whispering around the Amero, So, I mean, I can see the direction. And, the first part of the video that we did for this discussion, we'll have a link down below as well. But it's ultimately a deep state cabal globalist agenda versus what appears to be Trump and the military, in addition to leaders of other nations as well, that are ultimately trying to even the playing field, where the deep state and the cabal are trying to ultimately put us in some sort of fascist, socialist type society, going towards communism, where the government has control. And
if I may, let me interrupt.
Yeah.
No, not the government.
The banks.
If you guys pay attention to what's going on in the European Union, these are unelected bureaucrats that control everything that's going on, non-elected officials. So if you go back to my videos on the Great Reset, and I told you about the World Economic Forum pushing this Great Reset. The Great Reset is a New World Order agenda. It's a cabal, the globalists, in which they would have non-elected officials, this group of bureaucrats who would decide what's going on around the world for each region. It tells you that right on their website. It tells you this. Now, they call it a reboot of capitalism, but you can see their policies are 100% socialism.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people, look, just because you spray perfume on a turd doesn't mean it's not a turd no more.
Yeah, great way of saying that, dude.
Yeah, it's socialist. It's leading into communism. So, we knew that they were going to come after Trump. We knew they were going to come after him hardcore in this election. You could tell which politicians are behind this and which ones are not. And Trump was the one person, or is the one person, standing between a free world and a world stuck in this, deep state agenda, whatever you want to call it now.
Did you see, I was trying to find the link. Archbishop's Vigano's open letter to Donald Trump, and then he spoke at some Catholic conference as well. I know he's retired, or he's not as involved with the church as he used to be, but he's coming out saying some pretty heavy stuff, pretty much like spelling this right out, and saying that the Catholic Church has been taken over by
infiltrated
sinister forces.
Yeah.
Negative, sinister, dark forces that are plotting with the rest of the world to do this great
agenda.
reset. And also,
yeah, I mean,
it's
you know,
crazy. It's crazy when you're thinking about all this, but nothing is being talked about this on the news. Not even talking about with Iran. All we're caring about is this election and what's going on with Biden being shoved down our throat.
Force them in. Yeah.
Not even realizing that Donald Trump still has recourse in courts. This is probably going to end up going to Supreme Court. So, I mean, we're a long ways off. I think the Electoral College has until December 12th or 15th, somewhere around that date, to make a decision to say who won the vote.
So here, you just brought up something interesting. People keep going, oh, you know, the recount's going to be our last choice. Or, no, Supreme Court's going to be our last. No. I go, look, here's what's going to happen, because we got more choices than you think. First, we're going to do the recount. Trump's going to go to courts and display all the evidence of fraud and inconsistencies. There's a group of what we call, what do they call them? Unpartisan, you know what I mean? Right. Democrats and Republicans that are these math magicians. They're, you know, geniuses at math. And they said, look, we don't like what's going on to our country. We can, without a doubt, go into court on Trump's behalf and use math to prove to the courts that this election is a fraud. And I was like, ooh, that's interesting.
Let me ask you this.
Oh, no, wait. I want to bring up one thing. Remember, in one of these states, they came out and just told us 79,000 ballots were found. Not one of them was for Trump. How is that mathematically possible? Not one. All 79,000 magically were just for Biden. Do you believe that?
Right. No, I get it, dude. So the beginning of this year, we had seen that the post office put in that patent for the blockchain voting.
Yeah.
And we saw several months ago talks of it. We saw a lot of talks about the mail. So we already knew the mail in some sense. Donald Trump, there was a lot of controversy on the mainstream media. However, that got spun. I'm wondering, because of the integrity of this whole system right now that we have, it's screwed, beyond screwed. It's so corrupted that I feel like the only way to do something proper would be to really honestly do a revote and utilize this technology. Now, why do you think they introduced this but haven't used it? Like, it's why talk about the idea that there is a potential blockchain voting that the post office is implementing, but not utilizing.
And already the system's already been tested. It's been tested several times.
So what do you think? You think there'll be a revote?
So here's the dilemma. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you from a person who was an arbitrator. All right, so I've been in arbitration in front of judges. I can tell you what the judges are gonna ask. I can play both sides real easily. So let's look at this. The recount is going to be one thing, but even that's going to be disputed, no matter what side it falls on. The next recourse, of course, is the courts. We're going to go to the Supreme Court. And I told everybody in one of my videos, I already know what the judge is going to say. If they come out with that watermark thing or whatever it is, I already know what the judge is going to say. The watermark ballots aside, or however way you marked it, because I was told it's not a watermark, it's a tag. They tagged them somehow. And I said, okay, so let's just say this. What the judge is going to ask them is a couple of things. One, the first question is going to be, is there any chance or any possibility at all that any one of the ballots that were used that were not tagged, can any one or more, is there any possibility that they are legitimate at all?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if it's possible that a so-called non-tagged ballot is legitimate, well, then the judges are going to go, well, then it's hard to determine yes or no. Now, what I think the response is going to be is, it's possible that a untagged ballot is a credible vote, but having said that, we've done our research, and mathematically, out of all these so-called untagged ballots, a blah, blah, blah percentage of them is possibly legit. You know what I mean? So you have to set your parameters. Judges want this. If you just go, yeah, it's possible, they're going to go, well, then how do you know what is and isn't? You can't say that it's possible that one or more, and you're telling me yes, then we can't disqualify the other ones. That's what judges do. Okay, so that's one of them. The other thing is you can't just go in and say verbally. You're gonna have to prove to them beyond a reasonable doubt that there's so many inconsistencies. And I'll give you one of them. The software that was used for a lot of these counties all come from the same company.
Are we talking about the hammer and the scoreboard stuff?
No, I did it. Just
that ties back to Nancy Pelosi in some fashion.
No, not that. Not that. It might be. It might be. But this, I didn't name it a company. I just did a video a little while ago about. But the name of this company is their software is being used in all these states where there's issues. Their software they have found where 6,000 votes were supposed to be for Biden. I mean for Trump were flipped over to Biden. A handful of votes for Biden went to Trump. So when you start having those types of inconsistencies on this same software, it's one thing if it's different softwares, but this is the great argument for Trump's team, is this issue happened on one software in all these counties. And because of that, you can't trust the results. It's one, if we're talking about an election here and you're telling me that any software at all makes even a single mistake, it automatically in the court's eyes becomes discredited. Yeah. That's why now you're hearing in the news, they're like, oh, it's due to fat fingers and manual input. No, it's not. Even a person that was one of the representatives said, no, that might be possible in some cases, but no.
Not all of them.
Yeah, so now automatically all locations that use that software now become questionable. That's what you want to do, is give that kind of idea into the minds of the judges. Just like I said, if a judge says to you, is it possible that even one of these votes is legit, that's not tagged? So the judges are going to say, so if so, then same thing goes the other way around with the software. If you're going to tell me that even a single vote has been mistakenly given from one candidate to the other in either direction, then automatically that software is discredited. You have to then go back and audit what you have. And the only way to do that is manual count. Okay? So if these people were manually flipping numbers through the system, obviously when you go to do the physical count, that's not going to happen. They're already making excuses now and trying to, we found some extra ones on behalf of Trump. Oops, you know what I mean? Trying to, again, in my opinion, backpedal just a little. So the Supreme Court would be the next step, but they're not the last step. The true last chance for Trump is going to be the American people, period. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Are the American people going to go, we're going to allow this election to be stolen, and we're about to be taken down a real dark path under the Biden administration? Or are the American people going to say, screw this, grab arms, show up in the largest numbers of people, and go, you have a choice. This is what we want. This is what we demand. We don't trust it. And I told people, you got to be concerned about two things.
Real quick. I want to say something. Because of something you said, and I know you well. When you say grab arms, I know you're not encouraging violence.
No.
At all. I know that. We both on the same page. We would like to see a bloodless, nonviolent evolution of us, man and woman, evolving into a way of putting these governments into check. I mean, if something gets out of hand, it just happens to get out of hand. But ultimately, no one here in this conversation is encouraging anybody to take any sort of steps of violence.
No, but now having said that,
but you got to protect yourself and defend yourself as well. So I mean,
well, no, and having said that, let me just throw on another part of that. I'm not advocating violence. What I'm saying is, you have to make a choice. We're at that point now. What are you willing to do to protect and preserve this nation, the republic, our Constitution? Now, that's not advocating violence, but what I'm saying to you is if these people continue to push Biden down our throat, when we know that this is fake, it was a rigged election, and this is false, and this is a bad situation for the world. Look, we got people around the world begging Trump not to give up. So, as an American citizen, and all that you believe in this Constitution, our flag that they burn, our way of life, our traditions, because they're going to flood this country. That door is going to swing wide open, and it's going to be flooded. So, what are you willing to do? At what point are you willing? When is it enough for you? So, having said that, what I'm saying is this: if we see that the courts appear, again, if the courts appear, the Supreme Court I'm talking about, if they appear to be, I guess, what's the best word for them? Compromise.
Mm-hmm.
And we can just tell by the way they're talking that they refuse to allow evidence to the contrary of what we're being told in the election. And you know, or they just, yeah, I don't know. Here's my way. I'm not advocating violence, but let me just tell you something. And if for me personally, you know, if these people are going to continue down this path of trying to convert our country, lie to us, and when we know this election is rigged, I mean, I'm one of these people that say I'm willing to take up arms and fight for this country till the end, period. Yeah, I'm not advocating it, and I want it done peacefully, but there's no way in how any of us that are God-loving, flag-waving, anthem-singing, constitutional-loving people, patriots, should put up with this on any level. That's why you guys got the Second Amendment right.
It's simple, though. It's really simple. The easiest thing that we can do is put aside our differences and all the things that have divided us as a people, as a nation, and start coming together, find those common bonds, because all it takes is enough people taking a stand, and nothing can stand against the people. It's as simple as that. It's so simple.
No, but now is the time.
Repeating it because it just, people need to have it drilled in their head. Individually, we have power. We have the power to make change, inspire change. Together, we can change the entire world.
We can. But here, okay, I agree with what you're saying. But ever in our history of our time, now's the time.
I get it.
Democrats, it's not about Democrats or Republicans any longer.
No.
It's about the left versus the right, good versus evil, period. Even Democrats are, I don't care what your party affiliation is, I don't care what your religious background is, I don't care what your sexual orientation is, I don't care what your nationality is. These people are threatening to take away what makes us the greatest nation that's ever existed. So this is the time in which you should stop looking at Bad Orange Man, because it's not about him anymore. It's about this country.
Yeah.
Trump's just the person that most of us put at the front. But the truth of the matter is, you should be behind fighting against this rigged election. I don't care if you think Trump's a racist or whatever. It's not about him any longer. It's the fact that these people openly and blatantly rigged an election right in front of us.
We have a constitutional right to assemble. So, I mean, that's what we need to do, is peacefully assemble and let the governments and let the powers that be know what we, the people, stand for and why we're standing and what we stand against. I mean, I got people arguing about this is democracy in play, and this is not democracy in play. This is corruption at play. This is like all the corruption that we've had building up over the years in our nation, all the nefarious things that we've done to get involved in other people's business, other nations' business, other nations' elections and all that. Everything is just coming back to, it's called karma in a way.
Yeah, it is. Look at people been bitching about bitching about rigged elections for the longest time.
Yeah,
you know, I think in the 80s it was
Bush Gore.
2000, 2001, I think it was.
So that's now we're 20 years later bitching about the same problem.
No, keep going further back. 1968.
I know. I'm just going back to the last one.
Do you remember who won the election in 1968?
Actually, I think I was told
it
was somebody who. I think it was an African-American gentleman that was running for president.
Dick Gregory, the comedian.
Was he African-American?
Yep, he's black. So when he ran, here's what happened.
There was a computer glitch. That was the introduction.
Glitch.
V called in on my show one time and was talking about that. I have to introduce you to.
He got more votes in one city than the winner of the election got accumulatively throughout the whole United States.
But that was the year. That was the year that electronic voting and the digital system got introduced, because 1969 was when the IMF created the SDR, which is the very first digital currency.
Yeah.
So that's when computers came online and were utilized by governments, banks, and the rest of the world. And and I heard about that, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that until
I knew that.
So he would have been actually elected the first Black or African American president. Which is a lot of people don't even know that. I didn't know that history, and that's how quickly this stuff gets erased. Though we can't let our history get erased.
Dick Gregory made this. So since he was part of this, and he had more insight on what really happened to this so-called electronic, whatever it was they used.
Right.
He said no, there was no glitch. They tried to rig it, and what happened was the votes were taken just like they do now. So let's say nobody likes you in this election, but they like me. But the powers that be know I can't beat you in the election. So they go, what is the ratio of votes that Chris will win with over Pimpy? Well, we think it's going to be something like 5 votes to every 1. Okay, let's take that in consideration. So what we need to do is, out of those 5, we have to tell the system to take 3 out of every 5 from you so that I get them.
Right.
Now I get 4 to your 2. Do you see how that works? Still looks close, because you don't want a blowout, because a blowout will look rigged. But it looks really close. And it'll go, oh man, they just thought he was going to win and end up being a real close one, but Pimpy won in the end. We've seen people go testify in front of Congress. You guys could go to YouTube and look this up. A man testified. He created a program for the voting machines. He said they purposely had me put in a software.
Yeah, now what was that guy's name? Do you know offhand?
I don't remember his name, but I can look it up super quick since I'm talking to you. Go ahead and talk real quick while I look it up.
Yeah, I was thinking I saw something about this because we've had we had a very decorated Air Force general or something like that come out and mention some things in regards to the hammer and in regards to social stuff.
Yeah, his name's Anthony Schaefer. Is the guy you're talking about?
No, trying to breeze through my history here and see if I can find it offhand.
Okay, so here it is. It says Americans hacked elections. So this guy here is, okay, so American computer programmer, his name is Clinton Eugene Curtis, testifies in front of the House Judiciary members in Ohio. This was done in the year 2000. He tells everybody that he built a prototype software package that would secretly rig an election to sway the results 51-49 to a specific side. Now, this is back when the Republicans were wanting to rig the election. So he testified he was able to do it. He's saying, and he testified in there, that any voting machines that's done electronically can be flipped. As a matter of fact, in Obama's last election, this guy went in with this clip, because you have to download onto this thing you plug into the machines, and it's supposed to download all of the votes. But the little part you plug in is programmed to flip votes from one candidate to another. So he showed everybody, he said, everybody on here, vote the opposite of me. I vote this candidate, everybody else vote the other. They said, okay. Then he put that thing in there. When he pulled it out and he put it on the computer, it showed that only one person voted for the candidate they all voted for, and everybody else voted for his candidate. He says you can't trust these computers. It can't be trusted the way it was programmed at the time. Blockchain might be the resolution to that, but you can always hack them and change them, which brings me back to what I'm talking about now.
Well, you can't hack and
That's
change a
software.
true decentralized blockchain. It's immutable, and that's the power of that. Now, I'm glad that you mentioned the blockchain, the QFS, and the watermark stuff, because I will have linked down below the video I sent you yesterday from Charles Hoskinson, one of the
Hmm.
founders of Ethereum, who founded
Yeah.
Cardano. He did a video talking about how it's. I didn't think it was possible. I'm like, how can you attach blockchain technology, something that's digital? How are you going to be able to tag that into a physical item? There are ways, but it's not as easy as it sounds, and
I
ways
know you're talking
hard to
about that
find.
the ex-CIA spook, Stephen. I have a hard time with his last name, but here's the
Pashenic or
thing.
something like that.
Present it.
Some
So
weird. It's
I don't know how you could use a watermark to be logged into a computer. What watermarks are used for? And again, when I talked to my friend, he said he didn't say watermarked specifically. He said no, the ballots were
tagged.
tagged. And so again, I don't know how you could log a watermark into blockchain technology. Maybe there's a way to do it. But again, even that guy Anthony Schaefer, he's a guy that blew the whistle on 9/11.
Dr. Steven Pischesnik, something like that is his name.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the ballots are tagged somehow. You know what I mean? Where they could distinguish between. Again, my friend said tagged. I asked him about the watermark. He said no, tagged, specifically tagged. So I don't know how that is. So is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. So whatever this strategy is, if it truly is the world's largest sting operation, we're about to find out. The second half of that was he said that the National Guards in 16 of these states were deployed to go in and be volunteered to be these counters to work within the balloting places. That's real. I played in one of my videos an actual local news people reporting that indeed they were there. So if anything, Trump, if they're there and they witnessed anything, people are going to trust our military.
Well, did you know that the mail-in ballots were part of the plot to deny Abraham Lincoln re-election in 1864? And
yeah, I've seen that.
In a lot of ways, that might be some of the comparisons that Trump is trying to make with himself and Lincoln.
Jimmy Carter.
Interesting to think about that.
Jimmy Carter and his friends.
And that General McInerney.
Which one?
Tom McInerney is a retired lieutenant general. He's the one that came out talking out against some of the things that were going on in regards to the hammer and scorecard. He's he's a very highly decorated Air Force. Now that I got his name, let me pull him up.
Well, him and the other one is Anthony Shafer. Anthony Shafer is he's from intelligence. He's the one coming out saying what they learned on the farm, XCIA. What they learned on the farm is how unique and special lighting is. He's that guy.
So this guy is retired United States Air Force Lieutenant General, served in the top military positions under the Secretary of Defense and the Vice President of the United States. He served like 4 tours of duty in Vietnam. Extremely highly decorated individual, retired, but now coming out, speaking out against a lot of these things, saying that they were utilizing a lot of technologies that were used in foreign elections that were being turned and used on the people, and giving evidence of how this is being done by the CIA, which has no right to do anything in regards to American citizens, U.S. citizens. It's crazy, all the people that are coming out saying stuff.
Yeah, well, here's this other guy. He's Tony Shafer. He's at T with the underscore S underscore P underscore O underscore K underscore Y. So T Spooky. So his background is he says snarky bastard, New York Times bestselling author, retired Intel operative. He's on President Trump's advisory board, advising produce chain of command for the advisory board. So he's it looks like an ex-spook.
Tom Shafer?
Yeah, Tony Shafer is what he goes by. Tony Shafer's been trolling Democrats, saying that, oh, you guys are about to find out just how amazing light is, and all kinds of crap. And he's just, look at all his posts.
He's connected up with Flynn.
Yeah, so these people, well, he's the guy that blew the whistle on the leak intelligence on 9/11.
Okay.
saying that they allowed 9/11 to happen. He had proof. So he's that guy. Dude, you got to go. You guys got to go to his post. Again, this is his Twitter account. Is the @ T_S_P_O_.
It's like T spooky with underscores in between each letter.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's much
I mean, it'll take you 10 minutes to get that thing.
Yeah, I'm like, good Lord, man.
T_S_. It's like, dude, why'd you have to do that, man?
I've been semicolon with a squiggly line and a,
But if you look at Tony Schaefer, it's SHAFFER on Twitter, just in the search. It should come up and you'll see the T spooky with the underscores in between each letter.
Go read his post.
The newest one?
Is trolling the crap out of these people.
This is amazing. This moron, David A. French, compares Joe Biden and his campaign to Flight 93 Al-Qaeda hijackers. Even I would never accuse Biden or Kamala Harris of being murdering Islamic terrorists. Does French need a sedative or an enema? Thoughts? Should we tell at Secret Service? That dude seems like he's got a pretty good sense of humor.
No, dude, you got to go down because he's trolled so many people, and he does it in such a way it's brutal.
When you mention Iran being concerned, what that makes me think too.
Not concerned, excited. The Middle East is concerned.
Okay, so I mean, that makes me feel like if the Middle East is concerned because they're worried about Biden getting in, then they're not thinking that Trump has this in his pocket. So I'm kind of curious on your thoughts with that, because it makes me feel like the rest of the world is not as confident.
No. So during the negotiations, there was some type of, my friend said, look, there was some type of assurance that, Trump would win and be in his second term, is why they all came forward into this agreement. Now, all of a sudden, they're seeing Biden win. They're concerned about that. So it isn't that they believe it, but who knows what they were told? They probably were told Trump should be a shoo-in. It's probably what they were told. And then now it doesn't look that way, so there's concern there. But rightfully so. But it isn't just there. Australia, they're shitting bricks over there too. Because
they've been having problems in Australia long before our election. I mean, the Australian government is they're test betting how they're going to be able to push the citizens of nations.
No, here's the deal. Not that. Melbourne, you're talking about, but I'm talking about this. Australia, Italy, Spain, Africa, and India, Vietnam. Okay, all those countries that border the South China Sea. So Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Japan, Philippines, Vietnam, all these people were being bullied by China. They were sending their Navy out there, screwing with them. They would show up on their shores unannounced to do military exercise, to the point where the Filipino leader said, you do this again, I don't give a crap if you beat us or not in the military. We will kamikaze your ass. Mad as hell. So they've been doing this. And then all of a sudden Trump got in office. He sent over 2 destroyers and a battleship into the South China Sea. There's been a lot of calmness there. You know what I mean? He's been meeting with Modi, the leader of India. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And they're now buddies. So there's a lot of things happening that people aren't aware of. A lot of skirmishes happening between India and China right on the border. I'm talking about where they're having shootouts and fist fights and rock throwing in the whole 9 yards. I mean, there's soldiers being killed. So what everybody in the free world that wants a free world is this. Trump in the United States was standing in the way of China doing what it wanted to accomplish for China 2025, which is take over everything, is what they wanted. All right, so now that these people feel there's a possibility that Trump might not win, there's a lot of fear from a lot of nations right now and a lot of people. They're very concerned. So that's why I tell people, you guys got to get past this brainwashing of orange man bad, orange man racist, because it's bullshit, and see the bigger picture. And that is the one man standing between our freedom and our enslavement. He truly is.
I mean, it's very well possible, and I hope that we're able to turn this thing around. I mean, but ultimately, I know that if people can unite, and unfortunately, we're not in that position. We just keep being more divided. If we can just unite, we can do what we need to do. But I'm behind who's trying to do the best for our nation, especially trying to restore our republic.
Yes.
Now, with the elections aside, I mean, we can dig back into it, but you had said the last time after we did the first part of the plan to end it all discussion that we didn't really dig into some aspects of it.
Yeah.
What were some of the things you wanted to dig a little bit more into and kind of discuss a little further?
Well, I mean, I did a video talking about, and me and my friend, everybody is aware of what Trump's second term agenda is. He's made it public, but there are other things that are not being discussed on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's truly going to end the Fed. We're going to go back to the gold standard, one way or another. Either we go there on our own or another country will force us. There's that. Trump wants to do away with the IRS, except for have them play a really small, minimal role. He's going to do away with capital gains tax.
Capital gains, all these, getting rid of taxation of labor.
Yeah.
A couple other things, which
simplify everything.
Obsoletes them for the most part. Makes them.
Yeah, is what it is. And so again, he had the platinum plan for Black America, which, man, I would love to see that get implemented, because unbelievable. I mean, there's a lot of things I covered in a video. Not that I don't want to get too much into it, but when I did that plan to end it all, was that it wasn't enough that Trump was just going to end the Federal Reserve here in the United States. That's not enough. Eventually, some other administration would come in, and it would make an excuse under the right Congress, under the right government, could re-implement it. So there had to be a more drastic step taken. And so I laid out a theory that I had that I felt, based on all the different areas that I cover, made sense to me, and I seen look like was coming to fruition. And that is, Trump's plan wouldn't just end the Federal Reserve, it would end all central banks around the world. Which, to keep in mind, the reason why most of us are in the trouble that we are, all of it is tied into central banks around the world. Well, and those countries that didn't have central banks before, guess what happened? All of a sudden, they're mean dictatorship, regime change happens. Lebanon, Iraq, they're going for
it's the debt-based system. I mean, that debt-based system is really what, in the fractional reserve banking, where the banks can lend out more than they actually have. Where technically, if I would say right now, if 20 to 25%, maybe that's even a high number of customers from all the banks in the United States were to go and withdraw and close their accounts, the banks would have to fall upon the FDIC. There wouldn't be enough to do that, and then it would, in fact,
there's not enough of the FDIC account.
It would bankrupt the United States.
Well, according to the laws that we have here,
though, in order to do a true reset, you have to get rid of that old system too, and all of that is the Federal Reserve, the IMF. It's all based off the same fiat, debt-based system that's all about fractional reserve banking, how we can make the rich
all of it
poorer.
IMF, World Bank, all central banks.
You have to get rid of it all.
The Bank of International Settlement, which is the central bank to central banks. They're the big dogs.
Right.
So all of it would have to be gone. Now, this I know is a fact, and I did this on my video. In order for us to get in this direction, and all of us be on a level playing field, there has to, this debt between the countries, it has to be settled. And ever since Trump's been in office, I can tell you this, that every year around this time, like this time right now that we're in, there is people from the Treasury Department. There's a delegation that meets with other nations. They all meet in Malaysia this time every year, and have been for the past 4 years, in which they sit down and they agree and settle all their debt matters between each country. This is how I knew they were heading in this direction. That's my friend confirmed that. He's like, yeah, that's actually what's happening. He goes, I don't know where you got that from. Well, I mean, it's no secret. Everybody knows that. I have a CIA buddy, but he was telling me this stuff. But my friend from the Department of Homeland Security, he's confirmed it. And that is, every year there's a delegation of people from our country. They're all part of the Treasury Department. They go and they meet with other delegates in Malaysia every year. And they spend a week or two there going through and settling all the bond crap, all the debt, everything. In order for us to move from the old system into a new one, a lot of that has to be handled ahead of time.
Right. Well, I mean, I think from what I've learned too in my research, Steve Mnuchin, who is the chairman of the Treasury, he doesn't receive a paycheck from the United States government. I think his paycheck comes from the IMF, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
You should look into that, because I mean, I really think that's.
I mean, if he works for the Treasury, that makes him a government employee. Why wouldn't he get a paycheck from us?
Because I mean, the Treasury has a kind of a different role, because
so the Treasury we're related to now. The Federal Reserve, POW, on the other hand, is different. They're a private bank.
Right.
That might be different. They might get theirs from the IMF.
No, we should look into this. But now, so you said something about kind of a debt relief, a debt jubilee, and you talked about this, and there's a lot of talk about this. So I mean, if Donald Trump was doing what we're saying he's doing, and he's stacking all this debt on the balance sheets of all these various central banks, not just the Federal Reserve, but all these various central banks, and then ending it and essentially just killing them all, and in doing so, killing the debt, then you have the second scenario. I think if anything is being pushed out this year, and from what I'm being gathered and what I'm being told, anything being pushed out this year in regards to a wiping out of debt is not going to be coming from the Trump end. It's going to be coming from the Great Reset end. And I'm gathering a lot of information where there's a lot of talk where basically governments, banks will come in and ask people to sign off all their property, and they wouldn't own anything anymore, and they wouldn't owe anything.
Well, Schwab, the guy that is the founder of this Great Reset, you know, he's also the founder of the World Economic Forum.
Well, even
he said there's going to be a future where people don't own anything and they rent everything. That should trouble you.
Was mentioning that. So, I mean, there is some legitimacy to that. So I wanted to bring this up because someone had told me that if anything happens within the next few months, it's not going to be coming from a positive, good side, a Trump.
No, that's not. Okay, so no, that's not 100% true. So both sides are going to push debt jubilee. So debt jubilee. So here's the thing with Trump. If on the Trump side, these people are meeting to settle a lot of the debt that's going on between nations, you can't just settle that and come out and say, hey, this is what we did. The people are going to be like, they're still going to be stuck in that vicious cycle that got them here in the first place, that enslaved them. So what I'm hearing is that we're going to do away with credit cards. They're going to do away with the credit scores. They're going to do away with, when you go to the bank to get a home loan, there's no more interest on it. What you do is you pay a bank fee up front. The rest of it all goes to principal. And you can only qualify based on, you know, how much you get paid. There's no more credit score. We go back to the way it was prior.
Whether or not you can afford the payments and things like that, for real.
Yeah, but the only kind of debt that's going to stick around is debt. You know, if you got back child support, that's one thing. If you've been sued because you owe somebody some money, personal debt, yeah, that's different. Now, other debt can be forgiven. Okay, so that's for sure. That cardinal, that archbishop, Carlo Maria Vigano. Yeah, Carlo Maria Vigano. Anyways, in June, he wrote Trump a letter, telling Trump, warned him that you got to keep fighting.
That's what I'm talking about. I think it was that letter, and then he did something.
That was the first letter.
Not too long ago, he did a speech, like an hour-long speech at this Catholic conference.
So, in the first letter he wrote in June, he told Trump, "It's bigger than you. This is big," and he's saying, "You're fighting a deep state. I'm fighting a deep church. That the church has been infiltrated." Now, if people go onto Google right now, and I can prove this to you, that there were some cardinals in the Vatican back in the 80s that were upset and asking Pope John Paul to do something about all the cardinals that were in there worshiping Satan. There's an article in there saying the devil lives in the Vatican. Can't you get rid of him? Fast forward into the 90s, you have Leo Zagami saying, look, you guys don't get it. The darkest force ever lives within the Vatican. It's in the Vatican. It's protected in the Vatican. The darkest, most evilest force lives there. And he said the person's name, but he has these rituals he has to go through before he says the name. He says just the mention of the name gives him power. You know what I mean? So I thought, oh, that's interesting. Now you got the first letter coming out in June saying, look, this isn't about politics anymore. This is good versus evil. That's where we are. And it isn't just the United States. This is around the world. Okay? So he's saying, look, I'm going to fight on the church side. You continue to fight on the political side. Recently, he just did another open letter. Another one. Coming close to the election. Telling them, no matter what, you cannot stop. Do you understand that? Even no matter what the results are, you cannot give up that nation. United States is the prize. Whoever controls the United States controls the world, period. This is the children of light versus the children of darkness.
Yeah. Good
versus evil. This is a spiritual war that's also going on, and you can feel it. When you have the Democrats leaving God out of their, they voted to take prayer out of their conventions. They won't even say to pledge allegiance without.
We've been growing up, they've been doing that in schools. I mean, they took out prayer out of school. I mean, all kinds of things in the years that I've experienced on this earth.
Well, now they won't even say the pledge. You know where it says one nation under God? They leave that out.
One nation.
One nation, indivisible. Yeah. I mean, in all of, remember the week long of Biden's, the DNC, every day when they say the pledge, they took that part out.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and they would he had a variety of different religious leaders coming on and giving their spiel. No offense to any religious beliefs by any means. I definitely believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
But as far as organized religion, we can see that's one of the biggest problems that we have had in this world forever. I
don't support nor endorse any man-made religions at all. I think everybody should build their own relationship with God and leave it just like that.
All the wars that we've seen and heard about in history that the Middle East has experienced, and to know
can be traced back to the Vatican.
It's crazy.
So so there's that without getting sidetracked. So the Archbishop is telling Trump, you know, this fight is much bigger than you, but you are the chosen one to lead the way. You can't stop fighting, and encourages the people to support him. But you're going to have those other, and this is sad to say, but those other, and I'm generally speaking, those other weak-minded people who listen to people like CNN and MSNBC. Orange man bad, he's a racist without doing any research.
The conditioning, the programming, the people that the magic is
without doing any research whatsoever.
Right.
I can't tell you how many fights we used to have over that. Biden still thought it was okay talking about how Trump said there was good people on both sides, even though it's been debunked like a million times. You know, the irony of all this is the one true racist is Biden. There's histories of his racism. You know what I mean? But let's not talk about that. Or they want to take down statues and monuments to our founding fathers because they were slave owners. But nobody talks about the fact that Kamala Harris comes from a family of slave owners. Her grandmother owned the largest plantation on the island. She owned more black slaves than anybody else. Does anybody talk about that? No. Why? So the irony is the things that they hate the most are represented the most by the people they put in office, which is ironic, you know.
Isn't it ironic, don't you think? It's a crazy world we live in, man. And I mean, it's only going to get stranger. So, I mean, obviously we'll keep these conversations going. Was there anything that you wanted to touch on before we wrap this one up? And I'm probably going to hit you up in the next couple of days about getting together like middle of the week and trying to do something. Maybe we can do something.
I think it comes down to this. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you fall on. This is no longer about Democrats versus Republicans. This isn't about orange man bad. This is more than that. And you need to wake the hell up before it's too late. Anybody, I don't care what side. You know, people, oh, you're Republican. No, I'm actually an independent. I mean, I grew up a Democrat. I was a Democratic strategist. But, you know, no matter what side of the spectrum you are in this arena of politics, you got to get past that and see the bigger picture. And support. You don't have to support Trump, but you should be supporting an open and free and fair election and standing up for those who are saying, hey, there's a problem, and go, you know what, we agree. If you truly believe in your candidate and he won, then you should not be afraid to have a recount and all these things validated.
Well, if your candidate won because of the possibility of fraud on lots of different levels, would you be happy? Is that the outcome that you want, to win because of fraud? Do you not want to win undisputedly so we know you won? You know,
But that's where we are.
I
You
know.
understand that?
I
That
know, and
people
I
go,
think
I don't care if he cheated.
some
I
people
don't
are
care
like,
if they
no, I
rigged
don't.
it.
I'm just going to do
Yeah.
everything I can to make sure Donald Trump doesn't get in office.
Yeah,
and
they
not going
don't
to care
care
about anything else above and beyond that.
Yep, they don't care how they do it.
Not looking out for the best of what's better for the nation, what's better for man and woman, what's better for we the people,
or how this violates our Constitution. They don't care. That's where we are right now. These people have been brainwashed for at least this past generation. They've been indoctrinated in the schools, their colleges. It's television, entertainment. I mean, their brain is mush.
One more thing I didn't want to touch on was the U.S. dollar. The last time we spoke, we did do that video too with Stephen Gleason from Money Metals Exchange, and we kind of got into
Can we clear something up real quick?
Yeah.
So Stephen said something, generally speaking. He said, if you take everything that we see right now, it doesn't look good for Trump. He wasn't saying that.
Oh, people
He wasn't a Trump supporter. They lost their effing mind.
I meant to talk about that.
He's a huge Trump supporter. And I'm like, I laughed at Stephen. He's like, man, your subscribers are brutal, man.
Yeah. Well, they're brutal towards me too, because me and you, we talk, and when we talk, we interrupt each other. It's just what we do, and it's not to be rude towards one another. I made sure I was trying to be a little bit better about that on this conversation because people were saying something as far as your subscribers. So I do want to apologize, but I try to let people know that me and you are friends, and this is just the way we communicate, and it works for us.
Yeah. So again, and the other thing is, people, our subscribers, our listeners, should be happy that we look on both ends of every subject. If you're just looking on one side and you're blowing smoke up people's asses and filling them full of hopium, that's bad.
But that's what some people want, man.
No, they do. I came out and said, the what if scenario. I said, look, you better hope Trump's not the boogeyman. They're like, whoa, Pimpy turned on Trump. I'm like, whoa. Where the hell did you hear that? I'm just saying to you, be grounded. There's always this scenario. And then I'd explain to people, look, my friend, man, again, he's 73 years old. Robert Dean is his name. He's ex-CIA. His 20 years of my life, this guy would just pop up unannounced and we would hang out. Yeah. And we would talk. I don't know. He said, the first time he ever saw me, he said, there's just something about you, man. I just absolutely enjoy it, although I think you're full of shit sometimes. I was like, that's cool. But we would sit and talk. He's like, I like you, Pimpy. I like you a whole lot, man. He goes, I do. You're down to earth, and there's something about you, and I dig it. That's why I come around. But he'll also come around and tell me stuff. But he said something one time when we were talking. He said this. He said, look, me and you shoot this shit all the time, and I show you stuff that I shouldn't be showing you. I go, yeah. And he goes, and even though I tell you not to do something, you do the opposite, which pisses me off. And I go, yeah. He goes, don't trust people from the intelligence community. Don't even trust me. You got to learn to be that way about everybody. He says, in our line of work, the person you need to fear the most is your closest friends.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So I love sharing information with you, but don't just assume that the information is accurate, because there's always agenda. As an intelligence person, their whole lives are spent on figuring out what they need to do to either get an individual or a large group of people or masses of people to go in a direction that they want them to, no matter what it takes to do it.
Yeah.
So, he was being serious. We were drinking, he was sitting there, and he just looked at me seriously, and he said it. He says, listen to what people have to say to you, and then say to yourself, what are the pros and cons of this? What could be the agendas behind them? So I do that. So when I do my videos, I do that. You know what I mean? I say, you better hope Trump's not the boogeyman, because if so, we just got screwed. He's literally handing everything over on a silver platter to this deep state movement. And I was trying to make a point to people, stay grounded. Oh, good Lord, man.
Well, they have to. I mean, and I'm glad that you said that, because, I've told you, there are some things that make it look as if we are headed towards a fascism government, even under Donald Trump. So,
yeah.
it's you know, but we haven't got to the finish line yet, so I can't say how he ran the race. I'm just trying to watch and stay open minded. Do I want to see Donald Trump restore the republic? Hell yes,
Yes.
More than anything. But am I prepared mentally for the idea that this is all one big snowball show and we're just having smoke blown straight up our butts and we're just here trusting the plan? You know, and I can't just trust the
They're
plan.
just clones. You're watching a movie.
You got to help the plan, you know, be a part of the plan. But in cryptocurrency, we have a saying, and I try to encourage people this. You basically summed it up, but it's in 3 words: don't trust, verify.
Yeah, everybody should do your research.
You don't have to trust the Bitcoin blockchain specifically because you can verify everything.
Yeah,
so that's what people need to do is use their. Do
it now, because if we head down the Biden administration,
disinformation hell.
Oh God, they're gonna start racist stuff.
Aliens.
Censorship. Oh my God.
Who knows, man? But it's gonna be crazy. So you gotta put your thinking caps on, people. I got my thinking cap on today, and so do you.
Hey, did I offer you a piece of licorice?
Oh. You don't ever show that on your channel normally, do you? Look at that smile. That is so beautiful.
I will, because I will.
I wish I lived in California.
People are like, what are those? Those are big balls of licorice, people.
Green licorice that makes you feel funny and good at the same time. Some doctors actually
anxiety killers, stress killers, because there's going to be a lot of you that, if this thing doesn't go in the right direction, are going to need this to kill your anxiety and stress.
I'm going out to Cali. Cali.
Yeah.
I'm going out to Cali to see my man Pimpy.
Come on through. Hey, look, even my chihuahuas eat this shit. I don't know what the hell's wrong with them. So yeah,
they're smart. They're totally smart. Dude. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this again in the next couple of days. I want to probably set up a live thing, and maybe we can do a round table with somebody else, somebody by the sergeant name possibly, because we've been talking.
He's ready.
I know. He's more than ready.
I've been so busy. I've not been able to read. He probably thinks I'm ignoring him. But
I know he's more than ready, so I'm gonna have him on. But I'd like to do a roundtable with us. We've talked before, the 3 of us.
There's no roundtable. Just so you guys are aware.
Do what?
We get on here, Sergeant Robert Horton. It's just him talking, and we listen.
Yeah.
He talks more than I do because he's so knowledgeable about a lot of shit. And this guy is from the intelligence community. So when he starts talking, he goes. You know what I mean? So.
And he understands a lot about the election process in other nations as well, being that what he did in the military.
Yeah, he knows a whole lot.
He was like psychiatric. He was in the psych. I'm not sure exactly what the.
No, he was part of different types of psyops involved in the military. Yeah,
but it was like foreign, changing like thought processes of the.
Actually, some of the things we've been talking about recently. So he'll have a lot of insight on them.
Utilizing, because that's what they've been doing, is utilizing, like I said, all these technologies that we've used against other nations are now being used against our own nation by our own nation.
That guy that went on Tucker Carlson and told everybody, look, these are the things that our intelligence communities use to do regime changes and elections overseas are now being used on American citizens.
Oh, one more thing. Why do you think there's not being any arrests at all that we know of in regards to the Hunter Biden tapes and all like the stuff that they found on the computers?
Look, I was not a fan of Bill Barr. This is a Bush appointee. So if we're going around saying, look, these administrations in the past were all corrupt, all criminals, well, you don't want to hire one of these criminals to run your DOJ. So what has Bill Barr accomplished since he's been there, other than pacifying everybody? What has Bill Durham done? You know what I mean? They haven't done shit. They just, if anything, they did all the research, and so did the corrupt FBIs that attempted a coup against Trump. What these people did is they went to do all their investigations, and in my opinion, gathered all the evidence that they could, all the proof that they could, and then just destroy it. So under a Biden administration, you can kiss all that shit goodbye.
We didn't finish what we were going to say about the dollar, though. Now, do you think that we're automatic? Like, are we still in a position of losing our world reserve status? If we're either way, do you still look as dollar losing value, should people start obviously investing their money in things like gold and silver and precious metals and cryptocurrencies and things to that effect?
Yeah, under Biden, it's going to escalate. But again, he's going to be pushing the Great Reset agenda. So again, his goal is to just crash the dollar altogether to push us into this universal basic income.
Now, I will say, as soon as I found out about the Biden thing yesterday morning, on early Saturday morning, the crypto markets did react quite negatively. I didn't watch to see what gold and silver did, but
not that quite. They shot back up to 15.5.
Yeah,
15.5 right now.
But it touched under 15. It dropped like somewhere around $800 or $900. It dropped. I'll tell you specifically where it went.
Yeah, but I'm talking about today. It's back up to 15,600.
Yeah, no, it recovered. It rebounded. But, I mean, it really surprised me that right at that same time period, it had hit down to 14.6 is where it went. 14.7. So
I have 15.3 right now.
It's had $1,000 fluctuation roughly in the past 24 hours.
But the fact that that's why I warn all my subscribers. Look,
well, dude, that's where you can make some money, and that's where you can make some money if you can do those swing trades. If you could have sold right there at that top, bought back in when it hit down to like 47 and or 14.7, and then see what you can end up increasing your stack. You could take some profit.
I'm still pushing Ethereum. You guys watch; it's about to take off. Now they're allowing right now those of you who got 32 Ethereums to do your deposit, so that when Ethereum 2.0 is pumped out there, where else can you get 8 to 15% return on your holdings?
You got your 32
at a bank.
You got your 32.
I had it, and then
unfortunately,
I had to move some for a reason. But I have to get back up there again.
I'm trying to build it was something on the back burner. I kind of wish I would have done some trades at the beginning of the year. It was more profitable at the beginning of the year for me to make a trade for that route.
Well, I can tell you what happened was I was anticipating.
I get my coins and I just hold on to them and let them stack. I do a little bit of swing trading.
No, I was waiting. I was expecting big news from the IMF meeting. I mean, it came out, but I was expecting the dollar to use its reserve status. So I took a lot of the money and pumped it into precious metals. So that's what happened.
That's what we're going to talk about next time as well. Touch on the IMF again and Christina Lagarde, because I think she's been a big proponent of pushing that Great Reset, and you can see that with.
Well, she set it up under IMF is now wants to take her rightful place with the European Union. I mean, she's a brainiac when it comes to whatever the hell is going on. You can see her push it. I like how she said. Well, right now we're having conversations with the public about how they feel about going to a 100% digital. No, you're not. You're not having any conversation.
No, what they're doing is they're putting information out there to get people to be comfortable with the information.
They want you to believe that they had a conversation, and the majority of the people want this.
Yeah, who is lying? You're lying. Is there a person named Public, or who were these people that were at?
Who's Public? Let me see the names of the people. Let me
meet this Mr. Public.
So Bitcoin and Ethereum are almost at their 52-week range highs. Both of them.
They're performing. They've the elections have done. I mean, I was really surprised to see how cryptos have done to the elections. I figured we would have been down a little bit where we're at now.
No, you see, gold is back up around the 1,950 range, which is where it's set for a while. But silver is almost at $26, at $25.70 right now. That's going to take off.
Where are we at with silver? Where are we at with silver?
$25.70.
$25.70, and I think the last
that's a big jump.
This in the last we were like $24.
Yeah, I think I was like, let me see. So what was I looking at? The 1 month. This is the 5 days. So at 5 days, it dropped at one time down to, where was it? Oh, here it is, 23.61 on November the 3rd. 23.61.
I don't know, man. People need to take advantage. I mean, like we both work with Money Metals Exchange. So if you go to moneymetals.com and you purchase $100 or more in precious metals in all different sorts of varieties, and there's lots of choices, and you use either the promo code Pimpy or the promo code Rice, you'll get a free half ounce of silver. It's a way to support our channel. And I wanted to, these don't show up on camera at all, dude.
You'd be surprised. Some of them do. You just don't realize it. Because I'll show people stuff and I go, I can't see it.
Well, no, it's the gold backs. And you can get the gold backs through Money Metals Exchange. And I got an audio podcast on Rice Bowl coming out on Rice Radio next week where I interviewed the president from Goldback, but me and you talked about them. They're available on Money Metals Exchange, but they're it's
tell them what's on the back
similar,
of it, what they're made of.
Similar to a dollar bill in a way, but they've actually got gold inside of the
actual gold.
Inside, yeah. So this $1 bill, this $1 has 1/1000th of an ounce of gold in it, which is the smallest increment you can get. The next bill, $5 bill, and the next one above that's a 10. And I want to show everybody
No, here's the crazy thing about that.
They're all different sizes because each one has more gold.
Each of them has a determined weight amount put on those bills. So if the value of gold goes up, then the values of those dollars increase.
Yes, exactly. So if gold would be $2,000 an ounce, this would be worth $2 even. If it was $3,000 an ounce, this would be worth $3 even. But then you got to consider spot price. But if you're looking at right above here, it's like right where under my finger.
There's a glare coming off them.
It's a glare. I know. I can't.
No, hold it up, and it. Yeah,
that's
there
the
you
back
go.
of the bill.
There
That's
you
the
go.
back of the bill. You can see the line.
Hold it a little closer to the lens. Higher. Now turn it around the other side. That's the back side of it. Okay, so these designs are beautiful. You can't really see it because they are shining and reflecting. The designs on these are freaking beautiful.
Oh, they're super beautiful. So I think,
and they're supposed to be non-destructive. Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to destroy these.
I don't think I could, and I wouldn't want to try to, but I don't think I could. It's not regular paper, so it's.
So for those of you who are wondering what those are, so they're actual gold put on the actual dollars. And what's happening, some states are starting to allow people to use them to make purchases, like legitimate currencies. Yeah, Utah, Nevada, Arizona.
And silver to be a legal tender. And so this allows for gold, and so this allows for gold specifically to break up the problem of not being able to spend gold as a tradable way of buying things you need on a daily basis, because you can't just sit there and chip off a piece of gold and you don't want to walk around with a big old block or whatever. So, I mean, having smaller increments, this is what they call the very first voluntary currency. And it's
literally gold backed.
Yeah. Well, it's not gold backed. It's got gold on it, which is cool because it makes
gold on the back,
which is sweet because and I joked with them about the idea I was like, are you guys gonna do silverbacks? I was like, you're gonna have gorillas and stuff. Apparently they are gonna do something with the silverbacks. They had just gotten the trademark, I believe, for you being able to utilize it, but it's not gonna be like a voluntary currency. It's gonna be more for collectors and the art purpose, where
I told you I wanted a set of those, all the different denominations, both from Utah and Nevada, or is it Arizona, all the different currencies, and I want to send them in and get them graded by PCGS.
So I think they're working on Arizona one,
and they put them in these, and they encapsulate them. They make them secure with the grade on them. But as a collector, that's what I want.
I mean, it's crazy. They're so beautiful, but I mean, like, I would accept them as tender, but I would really, as much as I like the idea, I wouldn't want to give them away for some bread.
No, that's like people, whenever we go back to the gold standard and the silver standard and we start getting silver coins, you know how hard it's going to be to people, once they get the silver in the pocket, they're going to be like, I don't know if I want to give this up, because that mentality of hold silver is still going to be there instead of using it as actual currency. People are going to be reluctant at first to start using it as a currency when they should, because again, they're like, wait, this is real silver.
That's why I try to use cryptocurrency on a regular basis, same way, just to make sure it's being utilized and not just being, sat in a safe collecting dust and not doing anything.
But if you're going to do that, move over to Ethereum. You can get 8 to 15% on your return annually. So, wait, I'm going to ask you, because you'll know, and I said this in my last video, if anybody knows, so I'll throw it at you. With all the cryptos that are out there, is anybody doing anything like that? That no bank can compete with what Ethereum is doing. And anywhere between an 8 to 15% return on your deposit, depending on how long you want to keep it in there. I think it's like you can keep it in there a month, 6 months, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. Ethereum, that new Ethereum 2.0, where you
how much you'll get on, they can't guarantee any sort of return on the 32 staked Ethereum at this time because that would kind of go against securities stuff if they give you an idea.
See, I thought they
you're
could.
You're gonna get paid like they can't tell you a specific return on investment. That's what that would be, is a return on investment. Now there is some really cool companies that I can tell you about. I was trying to find their websites so I can go over.
What about energy? Considering if Biden gets in office, that one's going to take off, in my opinion.
They've got some really cool things going on with the project. There's actual, okay, so you've heard the term DeFi, which is decentralized finance. There's a term CeFi, which is centralized finance, which would be like what banks do. But there are some CeFi projects in the cryptocurrency space that are actually really good. There's one called Celsius. The founder of Celsius was part of the team that created the voice over internet protocol, the VoIP calling. So he made some money back in the day, and he's kind of more of a philanthropist as an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. Yeah. So they share their revenue with their users, not their profits, where a lot of companies share profits, not revenue.
Nice.
So the way that they've got their stuff is you can earn, you can borrow, you can pay and transfer all using crypto. With earning and stuff like that, just to give you an idea through the application, and you can earn, if you were to hold it, like they pay pretty decently on stable coins. So this is like a savings account in a way. So you can get 13.86% APY a year, almost 14% a year.
You're not going to get that kind of stuff in a bank. That's what I like about these ideas.
6.2%.
I don't trust Tether.
6.2% APY on Bitcoin a year, just holding it. So you can get an extra 6.2% of your holdings back. That's way more than you're going to get in a savings account. Ethereum, they do 7.21. There's other cryptocurrencies that you can do in addition. I mean, they have a lot of different cryptocurrencies, but you can take out loans. So I could take my cryptocurrency and I can use it as collateral and take out a loan. So there's a lot of different really
compounds that way too. Compound.
Yeah, compound through MakerDAO. It's more of a DeFi thing, but yeah, we definitely got to do an episode talking more about some crypto, and I need to hook you up with some of these people in the space as well, so you can talk to some of them yourself. And hopefully, I got to get that confirmation. A little over a month from now, we should be having that interview together with Lynette Zhang. So I'll keep you reminded about that. But that's December 15th, brother.
Let me know, man. Let me know. You know damn well I'll get giddy.
Well, I told you, like, apparently a lot of your subscribers have been very vocal about you and her live chats and on commenting on videos.
Oh, yeah.
Pimpy sent me. So we were already familiar with who you were. And because I worked with her, she was, her daughter basically was like, you know, we're definitely more than happy to do something. So
cool.
I'm looking forward to that. So we'll talk in the next couple of days, man. I definitely want to encourage everybody who's watching this, if you're not subscribed to either one of our channels, make sure you subscribe to both. Links will be down below. It's collaboration between Pimpy's Investment Chat and Rice Crypto. There's the puppy dog.
McLovin.
Is McLovin going to bring us out? Can you make him bark on command?
Oh, yeah. What? Not bark. When I'm on the phone, he likes to he does this. Puts his head against my mouth and tries to block me from talking and goes, no. In other words, he wants me to stop talking and pay attention to him.
Yeah,
he goes, no. And he'll arch his back. And
making videos, isn't he?
I'm like, yeah, he'll do that sometimes too. He'll like this. Lizzie Booba, she's different. She's older now. She's going blind. She's older. She's a kick-ass, man. She tries to beat up our pit bull all the time. I'm like, you're old, right? And blind and small. She don't care. She's vicious. She's mean. Here, go down over there.
My cat's out when I record now because it's just too much trouble.
Watch, I'm going to show you Lizzie. Oh, my goodness. This is Lizzie Booba. She's a little fatty. I don't know what's going on, but she put on like freaking 10, 15 pounds in her old age.
Yeah, well, I guess that runs in the household this year, huh?
Yeah, dude, no kidding. 32 freaking pounds, man. Just sitting around drinking wine all day, reading. It's terrible. I still got to go back to the gym.
Well, we're going to do something, man. We're going to do something. Well, dude, man, as always, I appreciate our conversations, and I appreciate you for tuning in. And as I like to say, to be continued.